Welcome back to another episode of Creature Madness. And for this episode, your host is me, Gus from Askewed Reviews. Now, if you don't know what Creature Madness is, this was a creation by my friend Matthew over at Horror Madness. He invited some of his friends to come and join him in a movie club where each week we all watch the same creature feature film, and then each of us does our own review on those movies for all of you. Now, along with myself and Matthew, the other members of this club are Ashley, Amariah, Bambi, Karen, Ryan, and Jen. And this time around, the creature feature was chosen by me, and I chose the 1983 film The Deadly Spawn, directed and co-written by Douglas McCowan. So as I was trying to pick a creature feature for this week, I decided to go with one that I had never seen before, but had always kind of been on my radar of something that I wanted to check out at some point. Now, this is definitely a prime example of a B horror movie from the 80s. So let me tell you more about the concept, see if this is something that you want to check out for yourselves. So, in classic horror movie fashion, the film starts off with a meteor falling from the sky that, of course, houses an alien of some sort within it. Now, the film itself really just takes place at a family home. There is one or two other sequences that don't happen there, but it's primarily all within this house. Almost immediately into this film, the mother and father of this household make their way down to the basement and are promptly eaten by this creature. From this point, we then meet our main characters, which is everyone else who's still within the house. Now, there are two children, Charlie and Pete. Charlie is obsessed with horror movies and monsters and costumes and masks, while Pete is all based on science. He is a student, I believe, in college that is apparently getting into science. Now, also within this house are Aunt Millie and Uncle Herb, who are here on vacation. Millie and Herb are actually woken up pretty abruptly due to the fact that there are screams coming from the other room. And those actually belong to the television that Charlie is watching his horror movies on. Now, as the story progresses, it keeps seeming like the next family member is going to head downstairs, but none of them do, at least at first. The reason why none of the people here are worried about the parents not being around is because right before they were taken out, they actually left a note that they were going to be heading off to the store. Very convenient for this monster. From this point, the family all goes off and does their own things. Millie heads off to go hang out with her mother. Herb is actually going to hang out with Charlie for a bit, since he's a psychologist and Charlie's parents are worried about his obsession with horror movies. He decides to diagnose Charlie. As for Pete, a few of his friends come over as they're all going to go and see a movie together. Now, while they're on their way over here, one of his friends ends up finding this rather strange tadpole eel sort of creature on the ground. And since he's into science and she's into science, they get really caught up in trying to figure out what this thing is. Now, while all of that is happening, Charlie notices that the electrician has just shown up and he's let himself into the basement to try and work on something. He thinks this is the perfect opportunity to try to scare him. So, putting on a cape and one of his masks, he goes down into the basement, finds out what has now happened to the electrician, and takes in what's actually happening with these creatures that are in his house. We also end up finding out that these creatures are not just in the house, they've made their way into the rest of the town, as some of them start showing up at Millie's mother's house. Now, the issue that Charlie runs into is a big one, meaning that the creature that's actually in the basement is a massive one of these creatures that has multiple heads and is very hungry. So, can this family and the rest of the town manage to fight off these monstrous creatures? So, I will say this, when I started the film, I felt like this was one of the lowest quality B movies I'd ever seen from the 80s. Like it was very easy for someone to do what was done in this film, especially at the beginning. But as it continued on, I wouldn't say there was a lot of progression in story, but the quality did get better. I thought the creatures started to look a lot better. What they did with the house, and especially what happens to Uncle Herb. Like there were some really cool moments in this. Oh, or when the women getting together at the one party are attacked, there were some really fun and entertaining moments. Now, at no point did I go, wow, this is an amazing movie, but I did find it entertaining, especially if you're a fan of those classic 50s horror movies. It had that feel. I mean, these are just alien creatures with sharp teeth, and I mean, let's be honest, they're very phallic looking, so they look silly. But it is a movie that's fun to watch, especially with other people. For me, on my scale, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. And if you want to check this one out for yourselves, it is currently streaming for free on Shudder. Now, as a quick spoiler warning, this is the part of Creature Madness where I'm going to go more in depth about the creature that appears in the film. So, first off, the deadly spawn do start off as these little tadpole eel like creatures that do have sharp teeth, though. They have the ability to kind of swim around and everything, and they're very easy to take out at first. Then they grow a little bit bigger and have more maneuverability and, of course, bigger, sharper teeth. Then some of them even mutate into this 8 or 9 foot tall creature, which is an amalgamation of a few of them coming together, I think. But it kind of just looks like a reject out of John Carpenter's The Thing. What we do discover by the end of this film is that they can just keep growing and apparently be bigger than a house eventually. Now, what we know about these creatures are they are aliens, they spawn very quickly, they grow and evolve very fast, they do seem to have some amount of enhanced strength, they're voracious eaters, and are attracted by sound. So I hope you enjoyed my review of The Deadly Spawn. And if you'd like to see what everyone else did for their review, just look up the hashtag Creature Madness. And if you've already seen this film before, let me know what you thought about it in the comments.